Mental health is complicated because, unlike a physical condition, it's invisible. I'm Dr. Walsh. I'm a school psychologist here at William Tennant High School in Centennial School District. So I like to use an analogy like the invisible backpack. So all the students come to school, they have their Chromebooks, they have their notebooks, pens, pencils, whatever they need. But they also come with what's called this invisible backpack, things that you can't see, that you're carrying around every day. And in that backpack can be a lot of things that are positive and good and help you get through the day and be successful, and they're called protective factors. But a lot of students unfortunately carry around what's invisible, which are called risk factors, which basically are things that can help push forward negative outcomes. And what the problem is that your family, your teachers, your friends, nobody can see what's in that invisible backpack. So if you have a lot of risk factors, it's going to be a lot harder for you than other students who have a lot more protective factors. And that's where mental health comes in.
I went a long time without help. I asked for help, but nobody would hear me. I told one certain person, and that certain person did know, but didn't really do anything about it, and that's not what a friend should do. And I did ask to go see a doctor or a therapist, but it was passed off as hormones or something silly like that, when I knew it was more than that, but nobody would hear me. And that was probably one of the hardest parts, because I knew what I was going through. I knew that I needed help, and nobody would reach out that hand.
I think the most difficult part of my mental health situation is just having to cope with it every single day. It's not easy coming to school and acting like you're okay, or just hiding how you feel, because people can easily tell. They're going to easily see you, and if you look upset, teachers are going to ask you, your parents are going to ask you, even your friends or anybody else, and then it can either turn into a big situation, or they can just give you advice and let it go after that.
People noticed that my grades were dropping badly. They noticed that I stopped eating a lot. I slept a lot. I wasn't motivated to do the things that I used to like painting and playing the guitar or piano, just those simple things. I just wouldn't do those anymore. And it took a while for them to notice, but once they did, and once they listened, I did get that help.
Some students are really proactive and they're self-advocates for themselves, and they tell their parents what's going on, or they tell a brother or sister who then tells their parents, or they even tell their own doctor, at maybe a well visit, that they feel like something's up. Other students, they are not as willing for a number of reasons. It could be the dynamics in the household, that they don't want to put more stress on their parents, or there's financial issues and they don't want to add more to it, or it could be a religious reason or a cultural reason. So I think outside of school, the most important thing is to make sure that somebody in your home life knows that you need help. And if you're not comfortable telling that person, just find somebody in your school life, an adult, that you feel would be a good way to open up that conversation between you and your parents, or a student and their parents, because the breakdown and miscommunication between home and school is where sometimes major problems occur.
The idea that we can't talk about suicide, or we're going to cause more, is more than dated. It's a dangerous idea, and we realize that in areas where we're not talking about this, we're still seeing higher rates of suicide, and people are still, unfortunately, dying. And so talking about it, sharing, connecting, those are what fight the stigma, those are what fight the shame, and then we can get people the help they need.
Would be is that the more we talk about it, the less there will be a stigma about it, and the less there's a stigma, the more people are going to feel comfortable coming forward and asking for help when they need it. And you don't need to have a major mental health condition and need significant amount of help you could also just be going through a hard time and you just want to reach out so it doesn't turn into something worse. So there's no level of severity at all ever with mental health that needs to be determined in order to just ask for help.
It is incredibly tragic. It is a way for us to bind together as a community and to say that we are not alone and that we are here for you. And it is a way for us to fight something together, something that's genuinely threatening. It's a health crisis. I think that's the underlying message here. This is like any other health crisis. It just has, like every health crisis, it has its own solution. The solution here is relatively simple at this point. It doesn't require a miracle cure. It requires conversation and it requires empathy, which is something that I think we can all appreciate.